we are ready to get started on this. I got the truck backed up in the garage. What we're gonna first start by doing is jacking up the rear end, and we're gonna put my jack stands on underneath the frame. Got the jack here that we're gonna go underneath the rear diff, and then once we get that jacked up, we'll take the rear wheels off and then drop the whole thing down onto the jack stands. All right, so we've gone through the first couple of steps of the process here. I put wheel chocks in front of the front tires so the vehicle won't move. We've lifted the vehicle and we've put in our jack stands here. We've supported the rear differential with our floor jack here. Now we're gonna have to remove the shocks on both sides, just the bottom mounts. So we got the U-bolt off. I'm gonna keep it in the orientation that it goes on there. All right, I got that bolt out. Just needed my breaker bar, and I was able to pop that out. We are gonna use that again, so I'm gonna put it off to the side. Now we can pull this shock out and we can start to disassemble this leaf pack. Basically, I've got the add-a-leaf here and my original springs. Here's my overload, and I've got this bolt that I'm working through, and I'm just tightening down the C-clamps here, closing the gap here, and then tightening the bolt down, and we'll torque it to 30 foot-pounds once the gap is closed. All right, so we got this all compressed back together. This is the new Torch add-a-leaf here, and this is the Shim, which goes between the leaf pack and the axle. There's a pin in it. I'll grab the other one. So there's a pin here, and it goes underneath the overload spring. And the important thing to know is the skinny end goes towards the front of the car. So at this point, we're ready to put the new shackles on, the new U-bolts, and get this side tightened back up. All right, the bump stop is back on, and the new extended U-bolts are on here, and now we're going to bolt this back up, and that'll be the end of this side, and then we'll go over to the next side. All right, so this spring is all compressed, and I've got the bolt tightened down. So I use the C-clamps to keep drawing this in, tightening, drawing, tightening, drawing, tightening. Once there was no more gap here and I couldn't compress anymore, I used my torque wrench with a 14mm bolt to torque this down to 30 foot-pounds. Then we put the shock back in and tighten that down to the factory spec. And now we're gonna be ready to cut this bolt so the bump stop fits over it, and then we will be ready to mount the U-bolts and be good to go for this side. All right, bolt is cut off right above the threads here, and then the factory bump stop fits right on there. Now we will attach our new U-bolts and we will torque those down. Once we get those starting to get tight, we'll cut off the extra threads and then torque that down to factory spec. All right, we got the U-bolts kind of tightened up, and then one thing I've had to do is come down here and after I get the bolts snugged up, I cut these guys to length, cut about an inch of the bolt off so that I can get my impact wrench up there and torque wrench up there and tighten these to spec. So these are now cut to the right length, and we're gonna go ahead and torque these. All right, so we are all torqued down, new leaf in there, everything's torqued back to specs. Now it's time to lift the back end up again, and we're gonna mount the wheels, torque them, and then we'll let everything down and take a final measurement. All right, we just dropped the truck down and ready for a measurement. We are 39 1/4, just about 39.5, 39 3/8. So mission accomplished. Awesome little kit. Pretty cost-effective way of giving your truck a lift. We're gonna clean up here and give it a test spin around the block, drive it for about 10 to 15 miles, and then I'm gonna double check all of the U-bolts for torque and the rear suspension for torque just to make sure everything's good. And we'll come back after 15 miles. Couldn't be happier with the result. Nice even gaps for the fenders. Nice almost 2-inch lift in the rear to match the front, and a nice rake front to back. So just an awesome kit for upgrading your Tundra and get it lifted, or restoring back that factory level. Yeah, couldn't be happier.